Remember when Disney was just about a mouse, a castle, and maybe traumatizing kids with Bambi's mom? Yeah, those days are dead. Because now, Disney has become the cultural equivalent of an invasive species. Like a mouse that eats entire cities. They don't just make movies anymore. They are the movies, the shows, the theme parks, the brands, the merch, the politicians' PR firms. Welcome, my friends, to the Disneyfication of everything. Here's the first problem. Disney doesn't just make content, it owns content. Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm, Fox, ESPN, soon your grandma's knitting club. And when one company controls everything you watch, it's not entertainment anymore, it's a factory. It's Coca-Cola with capes. See, back in the 80s and 90s, studios fought like gladiators. Different styles, different voices. Now, every movie has the same flavor. Disney flavor. Safe, sugary, mass-produced, like cinematic McNuggets. You can eat a lot of them, but eventually, you feel sick and wonder what's in the meat. Here's the part that really stings. Disney isn't just buying everything, they're watering it down. They sand the edges of every story until it's smooth, shiny, and totally meaningless. Remember when Star Wars was about rebellion, family, and destiny? Disney made it about whatever episode 9 was. Corporate Mad Libs, I think. They take myths, legends, greedy tales, and put them through a blender called market testing. Suddenly, everything looks the same. Jokes every 12 seconds, quirky side characters, villains with tragic backstories because, oh no, we can't just have evil exist. It's infantilization masquerading as progress. Disneyfication isn't just about tone, it's about control. Every franchise Disney touches becomes a lecture, a morality class taught by Buzz Lightyear. You can't escape anymore. You're just being branded with mouse ears and told how to think. This is why adults are retreating into retro movies, 80s VHS tapes, and bootleg anime. Because when everything feels Disney approved, it's not art anymore. It's a sermon with CGI fireworks. Let's talk about theme parks. Disney World used to be magical. Now it's basically a metaphor for how they run Hollywood. Controlled lanes, no risks, everything sanitized. Buy your tickets, stay in the lines, don't deviate. And if you try, don't worry. There's a mascot to nudge you back in place. That's how their content works. They don't want discovery, they want experiences. Movies aren't movies. They're IP rights. They're not telling stories anymore. They're selling merch, selling immersion, selling plastic nostalgia for $49.99 plus taxes. Here's the dark side of Disneyfication. It erases culture. When one style, one voice, one corporation dominates art, everything else gets bulldozed. Smaller studios, indie films, foreign cinema, all shoved aside. Why? Because Disney's monoculture is safer, easier, more profitable. It's like replacing every meal with McDonald's. Sure, it's everywhere. Sure, it's accessible. But eventually, you forget what real food tastes like. Whole generations will think cinema is just Marvel quibs and live-action remakes of cartoons. That's not storytelling. That's creative colonization. Remember Risk? Remember when filmmakers gambled on weird ideas? Blade Runner, Alien, The Matrix. Things that shouldn't have worked but did. Disney killed that because risk is dangerous and shareholders don't like danger. They want guarantees. They want formulas. So instead of art, we get spreadsheets. Executives checking boxes, diverse cast, check. Nostalgia cameo, check. Safe ending, check. Congratulations, you've just written the next billion-dollar mediocrity. Here's the cruel irony. Disney sells magic. The happiest place on earth, the most magical stories. But the real magic comes from risk, from chaos, from human imperfection. You can't mass-produce wonder. Yet Disney keeps trying, and people keep buying. The parks are packed. The movies still break box office records, kinda. But deep down, the audience feels emptier because the magic they're selling isn't real. It's plastic, manufactured. And here's the question: is it even possible to stop this? Probably not. The mouse has the money, the power, and the lawyers. But what can happen is rebellion, fans voting with their wallets, indie creators making real art outside the system, YouTubers, yes, even this channel calling it out. Because the more people notice how artificial it feels, the more cracks appear in the mouse-shaped kingdom. And maybe, just maybe, we can claw back some creativity from the claws of corporate magic.